Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class, we were talking about like what is the basically the course content for the MP2. For the MP2 course, what are the contents which we are going to cover? And we have seen that we will be talking mostly the machining operations. The machining operations in this course. This course consists of mostly the machining operations. So unlike in casting, forming, welding, so where you are going to add material or you are not going to change the volume of the material, but only the shape is being changed. You are only concentrated only the shape change from the like a given raw material. This raw material you are converting into a shape. Either this is with a casting or a metal forming or a welding or powder metallurgy. But here in the machining operations, we told that we will be talking about only metal cutting. The metal cutting. That means you are going to remove. You are going to remove the material. You are going to remove the material from the given raw material, and this will lead to a shape which is being required. So whatever is the shape which you are going to look for, you will be going to get the same shape, right? So this is basically just what we have seen in the last class. So if you remember why this machining is required, you see, when we talk about the casting, you are going to build the components mostly in the raw form, in the sense that you are going to make billets, you are going to make rods, you are going to make some what we call that plates, whatever it is, the thick plates actually. In the metal forming, we have seen that there is a small improvement from the casting process where we are going to make some of the shapes. But those shapes also, they are not for the final, because metal forming has not gone to such a level that whatever the component which you are going to make through metal forming, that will be used as the final component. Still, there will be some amount of post processing is required. That is what we have told in the even in the metal forming process. When we talked, actually we said that this is not the final component, but some post processing is required. And in the welding process, we have seen that we are going to add a third material to just to join two different materials to get some basic shape. So in the welding, you cannot get any complicated shape. And in the powder metallurgy process, we are saying that the powder is considered as a raw material input, and then you are going to do some sort of sintering and you are going to get the shape. But these are all basic shapes only. So there are many limitations when you compare, when you see the various, like whether it is a casting process or a forming process or a welding process or a powder metallurgy process. But those some of the limitations, whatever the limitation which we talked in the earlier the manufacturing process, right from casting to powder metallurgy, those limitation, maybe I will not call 100%, at least 90%, they can be eliminated. The limitations can be eliminated, and you are going to get a final component. Though it requires a lot of efforts to make the final component, but most of the limitations can be considered actually. So basically, why this metal cutting is required? So when we talked about, you might have heard about very long time back steam engine, no? Steam engine, which people have developed steam engine, James Watt. So there he want to make a piston cylinder arrangement. There he want to use a cylinder in which the piston is being has to move. But if you see, he don't know how to make the cylindrical component actually. inside the hollow cylinder, he don't know how to make. But then what he has done, he has taken a small sheet of metal and then he made this round shape and he has welded. But there are many problems which he has observed actually. So there will be leakage when the piston is moving up and down, because when you try to do welding or any other process, when you try to make using a sheet, there will be n number of problems which people, James Watt has faced. There will be a lot of leakage, but still he tried to maintain. But finally he failed actually. Means like whatever the efficiency, whatever the output which he is looking to get, that could not be achieved. This is only because of he was unable to make a cylindrical shape, right? So when I talk about metal cutting, so basically when we talk about machining is all about metal removal. Machining is all about metal removal process. Here you see casting or metal forming or welding or powder metallurgy, you are not removing any material. You're just making the component using the given raw material. Whether it is a heated conditions or a multiple conditions or a liquid metal or a powder form, you are going to make the shape. But here, when I try to see that the shape which you are going to get in the machining process, you are going to get because of the removal of the material from the given raw material. For the given raw material, you are going to remove. That removal is what? This is basically the unwanted material. The unwanted material only you are removing. Then the first question people should understand, people might having the doubt is that if it is a removal, people can use knife also to make the component. People can use some other chisels also to make. So that is what earlier people were also making. Suppose if you see in a foundry shop where you are going to make in the earlier days the wooden components. The wooden components. Actually, this machining I should not call the metal. Sorry, this one I should not call a metal removal. It is basically material removal. So it's not that only for metals, and any other metal can be machined actually. So it is a material removal process. So the unwanted material which you are removing. So if you have seen in the carpentry shop, you have taken a wooden piece and you have done some sort of cleaning operation. You have used a chisel to get whatever is the shape. So this is what the shape which you have taken in the carpentry shop. So this one you have removed using some sort of a chisel or a files actually. Files, chisels, even you have used your the hammers, right? Then people might be thinking that why can't we use such type of tools to remove the metals? You see, when we talk about wood, this is a soft material. This is not a very hard material. But when we talk about metal, you cannot use a file or a chisel or a hammer to remove the metal. Maybe you will be using for small finishing operation like in the fitting shop. So fitting shop you made one like where you, I think you have done something like this if I remember. Something like this you have made, no? So you have made a whatever is the and some slit you have done. So there you have used a small what we call this a file and you have made. So here you have made the material removal you have done. You have used these files for cutting the or the chisel, whatever you call it. Actually, you made it, but this is not the final component. So it means you will not get a very good finish. So then. So the concept of using files, chisels, hammers to make the metallic components is gone. So you cannot use all these tools. So when we talk about machining, when we talk about the metal cutting process, basically our requirement is to generate a surface. Generate a surface means suppose I have, let's say I have a cylindrical fillet. Let's say you have a cylindrical component. Let's say you're done with a casting process you have made. So the cylindrical component you have made. But that is, as I told, that is not the exact final component which can be used directly. Even today, people don't use directly this custard. You might have seen in the first year workshop, you have seen a metallic rod. So that's not the rod where you cannot use directly. Actually, there should be some sort of finishing operation or the machining post-processing operation you can see. Now, if I try to make a perfect cylinder, because this casting component is not a perfect. This is not a perfect cylinder. This is 100% true. Now what we should do is that in order to make an exact dimension of like whatever is the diameter and whatever is the height. So if I want to make an exact dimension of, let's say, the 50 mm diameter and 100 mm length, 50 diameter and 100 mm length, in the casting also we said that, or in the forming also we said that you are going to give some allowances. These allowances are to be used now to remove the material to get the final shape. So maybe you may not have casted this 100 by 50 exactly. You might have casted something like 50 to 53 mm diameter and 110 or 120 mm. You might have casted actually in order to get the component. Now, what is that? If you want to make a cylindric component, what is that you are looking for is that you have to generate the surface. This surface, whatever is there on the cylindrical surface, you have to generate. How to generate? Right? So you need a tool or you need a machine. You need a machine to generate this, a perfect cylindrical surface. I'm talking about the outer one. Inner one we'll talk sometime later. So that means in order to generate the cylindrical surface or even the circular surface also, it has to be a perfectly, this has to be perfect. If you see in this view, this has to be right angle. You should get the perfect perpendicularity between the surfaces. If you see in a two-dimensional view, the perfect cylindrical surface you have to make. So that means you need a machine to make this one. But how do you make this one? How do you make this one? That means there should be some tool or there should be some element which can remove the unwanted material from the metal. I'm talking about right now, I'm talking about only metals. We'll see in the later part what are the other things which we are going to discuss actually. Right? That means you need a tool to remove the metal from this one to get this shape. Right? So how to use the tool? It's not that you have a cylindrical rod, something like this. You will have a tool and you cannot do with a hand also, because your hand will not be having that much power to remove this material. So that means you need to have a machine. You need to have a machine which can do all these operations. So that is called as machine tool. So machine and machine tool, the difference we'll see in the later part actually. Let me change the right. So what I said is that you will have some raw material, whatever is the shape, and you will have a tool. These two you are going to use to get the required shape. Right? Means if I have a cylindrical shape, a cylindrical workpiece, I will be using some tool. Let me change the color. So I will be using some tool. This is the tool. This will be your workpiece. Right? If I want to have a perfect surface, as I said, you are in machining, you are only generating surfaces. These surfaces are nothing but part of your parts or the components. So that means you have to generate the surface. Right? Now, this cylindrical workpiece and this tool should have some sort of a motion which is relative to each other. They should have some relative motion. So that means it should have some sort of relative motion to generate to generate this surface. That relative motion is given by the machine tool. So the reason why I said this machine tool is that this machine tool can make machines. That means this is used to make the components of the machine which you are going to assemble. Also, so this relative motion, as I told, this machine tool, the reason why we are giving tool is that it will have a cutting tool. That means it is having a cutting tool also. Right? This is the cutting tool and this will be your workpiece. And there should be some relative motion between the workpiece and the tool such that there will be some amount of heat is generated when in the contact place, and this heat will be used to remove the unwanted material. Remove the unwanted material to get the desired dimensions. I hope I am clear. So you have a workpiece, you have a tool, and they should have some relative motion between the cutting tool and the workpiece in order to generate this surface. Okay. For example, if I want to have cylindrical surface, this is what I have to. So that means the surfaces, when you are trying to generate, surfaces can be many types actually. So if I say this can be a cylindrical surface, it can be a flat surface, right? And these cylindrical surfaces can be internal, or this can be an external. You are getting or not? Suppose there we were talking about a cylinder which you are going to make on the external surface. Suppose if I want to have a hollow cylinder, means it will have some sort of a thickness. That means this like you can call it as a pipe. That means the internal surface here also you have to remove the material. So that means the internal surface is also cylindrical. External is also cylindrical. This is the external surface. This will be your internal surface. So either you can make cylindrical surface, flat surface, but there are n number of options of the whatever is the surfaces today. If you want to achieve in machining, that is possible. Why? How it is possible? We'll see in the later part of the course. Right? So now let us come back to the relative motion. We are talking about the relative motion. Right? Now, what I should say is that you might have seen a lathe machine. No? Anyone has seen lathe machine? In your first year workshop, you might have seen, no? Is there anyone who has seen the lathe machine, Manna?
We have seen.
So you have seen the lathe machine. I'm just giving some example of some machine actually. You have seen a lathe machine, people have seen lathe machine. So what is that lathe? What are the things you have seen on a lathe machine? Can someone tell? What is that you have seen on a lathe machine? You are saying that lathe machine you have seen.
Forgotten, sir. They all have forgotten lathe machine.
Okay, fine, no problem. So let us just talk about the relative motion first actually, then we will come back to the lathe. So as I told you, you can make an external surface or an internal surface. Means if you see the view, the cylindrical surface is something like this, the two-dimensional, and I have, as I told you, I have a cutting tool. I'm just giving some example. This is a cutting tool. And this will be a cylindrical part. Now, when I talk about the relative motion, that means both has to be moving also. Means this one, somewhere, somehow, this has to be rotated. This cylindrical, which we are calling as a workpiece, this has to rotate. And this tool has to move. So that means this is rotating and this is having a linear movement. That means the relative motion, which is a combination of a cylindrical workpiece and a linear movement of the cutting tool, generates a line. Means you are going to get a line basically. Means in the sense that line, the reason why I am saying is that it is only moving in this direction, but whatever is the surface which you are going to get is something like this. So that means you are going to get all the circular motions you are going to get. That is the reason why when you try to machine on this one, you might have seen small sort of serrations on the workpiece. That means this movement is there. Now, today there are many other options where the cutting tools can be moved. Either they can be moved using powered or they are automatically also. That we'll see in the later part. So in order to get a cylindrical surface, what is that we are trying to do is that we are trying to, this is the axis of the workpiece. That means the tool is moving, the tool has to move parallel to the axis of the workpiece. That means this is your workpiece and the tool is moving. Now this is the axis we are talking now. So this is the movement of the tool. That means the movement of the tool is parallel to the axis of the workpiece rotation. We will see there is something called as generatrix, where there is something called as directrix, what type of surfaces you are going to generate given the different types of tool movements and also the different rotations of the tool and also the different movements of the either workpiece or workpiece, either it is a movement or the rotation. That we will see in the later part. Now, what is that it is happening is that how you are rotating the workpiece. Let me just go back. So the cylindrical workpiece, you are rotating. You are giving the rotation to the cylindrical workpiece. How this is rotating? This is being powered. This power is given by the machine. Right? This is one motion, basically, this one motion. Right? How this cutting tool is moving in the linear condition? That is also being powered, or there will be some other mechanism which we'll see. So this cutting tool is also moving in the linear movement. So that means this linear movement is also one motion. Right? So that means there are two kinds of basically the relative motion in order to perform your metal cutting. One is the motion which is given to the workpiece, and the other is that the motion which is given to the tool. So this will be for the workpiece. Whatever is the motion which you are giving, one motion you are giving to the workpiece, one motion is being provided to the tool. Right? Fine. So these motions, whatever is the motion which is given to the workpiece by the machine, this is called as primary motion. This is called as primary motion. But when it comes to the motion of the tool, this is called as feed motion. Why we are saying feed is that the tool is having a movement. It is not at one single point. It is not at one single location. It is just moving along parallel to the axis of the workpiece. But the workpiece is not at all. There is no change in the position actually. It is just only the rotary motion is given by the machine. So the tool which is being given the motion, that is called as feed motion, and the workpiece which is giving the motion, that is called as primary motion. But this will change the moment you are going to change the type of machine. Right? So how it is going to change, we'll see later. Right? So the primary motion is the one which is given to the, which is being offered by the machine to the, offered by this machine to the workpiece. Right? That means you are having a relative motion. As I said, this is the relative motion you are going to have between the tool and the workpiece. Now, let's say the workpiece is somewhere here and the tool is somewhere here and there is no touching. There is no contact between the tool and workpiece. So that means there is no relative motion at all actually. That means you are not going to remove any of the material or the metal from the cylindrical component. Until unless there is a contact between the tool and workpiece, the material will not be removed. The material removal will not take place. That means there should be a contact. There should be a contact between the workpiece and the tool. So from now onwards, the moment I say tool means it is understood that this is cutting tool. The moment I talk about tool means it is only the cutting tool I am talking. Okay, fine. Let me open a new blank. Now, so we are saying that workpiece tool. This is primary. This is feed in terms of motion. Feed motion. Right? Now, this is being given by the machine we are talking. Even the feed is also given by the machine, but that we'll see later. So this primary motion which is given by the machine, this absorbs, means this consumes maximum power. This consumes the, most of the power is being consumed in the primary motion of the, whether it is a tool or workpiece, but most of the times it is in the workpiece. But the tool or the feed motion, it will be having a minimum amount of the power which is being considered taken by the feed motion of the tool. Right? So this, when you have a continuous contact, continuously you are having a contact between the workpiece and tool. Then when you have a continuous contact and there is a continuous relative motion, the material removal will take place. Let's say you have this workpiece if you are having and the tool which you are having, this is rotating, and even if this is stationary, let's say. Initially only there will be material removal. After that there is no material removal actually. So that means there should be a continuous motion between the tool and workpiece. Stationary tool, until unless you don't have the linear movement, the material removal will not take place. Okay, so this stationary, this tool movement, it absorbs very minimum, very less power. Right? Whatever the power which you are giving to the cutting tool is very less compared to the power which is being taken by the workpiece for material removal. Okay. Now, so we are talking about the axis, and we are talking about the rotation. We are talking about the linear movement of the tool, and also we are talking between the tool and work contact. Right? Now the first question when we talk about machine or a machine tool, the first question it should come to your mind is axis. What are the axes of the machine tool? You might have seen in the lathe machine. Have you observed in the lathe machine what are the various axes? Anyone can tell? You might have seen, no? Like 35 roll number Nagaveni, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, have you seen a lathe machine?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir, I have seen.
Okay, what is that you have observed on the lathe machine in terms of axis? You might have seen, no, there is something which is mounted on the machine tool and it rotates and you are giving some motion to the tool or workpiece.
I don't remember actually, sir.
You don't remember. Yes, are you there? Yes. Yes number is 42, I guess. Is it yes 42 only? Yes, 42 only.
Hello.
Tell me yes. Yes, are you there?
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are very much.
Sir, I don't remember actually, sir.
Then what do you remember about the machine which you have seen in the workshop? Just tell me whatever you have seen and whatever you remember, you tell me whether it is wrong or right, we'll see later part. You might have seen only the lathe machine, no?
Yes, sir. In the workshop.
Now tell me. Yes, in the workshop. Think. Don't know. Okay? You don't know, no? Or you don't remember? Fine,
Yes.
let us say. No problem. You see, you have the coordinate system, no? Do you remember this coordinate system in ED which we talked? X, Y, Z. Right? So any machine tool will have X, Y, Z axis. These X, Y, Z axes are linear movements. These will be having linear movements, right? And the rotations, okay, sorry. So these X, Y, Z will be the linear movements, right? So there will be rotation also. Let's say, let me change the color so that it will be easy for you to understand. So we'll have something like this. You will have like A, maybe this is B. I'm not just following any the notations. I'm just saying that you have X, Y, Z are the linear movements. A, B, C are the rotational movements. Right? This, if you see, there is something called as right hand thumb rule. Anyone remember about right hand thumb rule? In physics, you might have seen, no? Yes or no? Manas?
Yes,
Manas
sir.
Patak. Remember what is right hand thumb rule?
Yes, sir.
Tell me what is that one?
It displayed the relation between the current magnetic field and
Current magnetic field and
electric field, sir.
electric field. Okay, anything else?
No, sir. I remember this much.
Don't remember. Okay, let us, don't worry. So if you see, as I told you, there will be linear movements and also there will be rotational movements also in most of the machine tools. What we are going to means like what people are using nowadays actually. Earlier there were no rotational movements actually. You have to rotate by some other means, but now today we have anything which is means all the rotational movements is possible, right? So this X, Y, Z we'll talk about only the linear movements. ABC will be the only the rotational movements. Now, let us consider, let me zoom it out. This one, we are talking about the lathe. This lathe, if you remember, the workpiece is being held something like this. Let's say I'll just make it a constraint. So this workpiece is held in this element of the lathe machine. This is rotating and this is moving. Now you see, this is rotating. That means there is some component of the rotation in the axis. That means, and this is moving also. This tool will move in this direction and also will move in this direction. Right? So that means in the lathe machine, you will have only two axes. You will have only two axes and one rotation. Why this is happening? We'll come to when we talk about lathe machine in details, we will talk. Coming to the, let's say you have, this is the lathe machine. We'll talk about the milling and whatever is that. Suppose in the milling machine, let's say this is the spindle on which the tool is being kept. So this is your tool. Now you see this tool rotates. That means the spindle rotates and also it moves up and down. Have you seen the milling machine? Maybe it not in working conditions, at least the milling machine have you seen? In the workshop? Prithvi? '93 Rushika, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me, have you seen the machine, the milling machine in the workshop?
Sir, I don't remember.
Have you gone to workshop?
Yes, sir.
For what purpose? What is that you have done in the workshop? Can you please tell me? In the first year?
Sir, we had machine shop,
Huh?
then carpentry shop, foundry shop.
No. What are the shops which you have done all the? What are the shops you have attended and you have done the jobs?
Carpentry,
Okay.
machine shop,
Huh?
foundry,
Okay. Which shop you have done the job? All three?
yes.
Okay. That means you might have seen the milling machine also.
Sir, I don't remember.
Fine. No problem. Have you seen the lathe machine?
Yes.
Okay. What is that you have observed in the lathe machine? Can you tell me? Don't remember.
No.
Okay. I'll show you a picture. I'll show you a picture. Maybe you might get some idea. Just give me a minute. कहीं पे मशीन टूल चल रहा है क्या? आवाज आ रहा है?
Yes, sir. Construction.
Okay. Okay, you can switch off your audio then. Oh, something I've done a mistake. Not this one. Let me just stop sharing. Just give me a minute. Yes. Can you see this machine, everyone? Everyone,
Yes.
can you see the machine? So similar to such type of some gigantic figure, this is what you might have seen in the workshop, no? Right? Right? This is basically a lathe machine. Actually, it's a zoomed, I have taken from the internet and I have zoomed it, it is not very good. So now if you see, this is the chuck on which your machine, on which you are going to fix the workpiece. The workpiece is being fixed here. So the workpiece, what you have done is something here actually. Okay? So this workpiece, which is being the cylindrical workpiece which we are talking, no, this is fixed on this one. This is called as chuck. Anyway, that I will talk in detail anyway the later part. Now you see this, the chuck rotates and the tool which is being mounted on this carriage, this will have the movement. Okay? So we are talking about the movement and the rotations of the whatever is the we call it as like in a machine tool basically. That is what we were talking about. Okay, so let me go back to my blank page. So we are talking about the axis. We are talking about the rotations. Okay, so we have this. We were the axis will be like X, Y, Z, and the rotations will be A, B, C. Right? So the moment we are talking about the rotation, the workpiece rotation, which is having some rotation, but the tool moves in one direction, that means the axis. As I told you, in a lathe machine, you will have only two axes. One is towards the chuck and this we call it as a longitudinal movement, and this we call it as a lateral movement. This is a lateral movement and this is a longitude. We'll talk more in detail actually in the next class actually. Now, what I'm trying to say is that in a lathe machine or a milling machine or a planing machine or a drilling machine, there will be always a contact. There will be always a contact between the workpiece and tool. What type of contact is the main issue? In a lathe, when we say that the tool is being touching the workpiece, there is a single point contact. A single point contact. That means the cutting tool, whatever is the tool, should be a single point cutting tool. And also you have multi-point cutting tools also. The multi-point cutting tools also have, and the third one is abrasive wheels. Abrasive wheels. Why this is also being called as cutting tool, we'll talk when it comes to the picture actually. Right? So mostly we are always talking about something called as machining, we were saying. So we said that machining is nothing but material removal. So this material removal is because of the relative motion between the tool and the workpiece. And as I said, we will have single point cutting tool, multi-point cutting tool, abrasive wheels. Right? So next class, we'll talk related to the lathe machine. What are the components? What are the purpose of a lathe machine? What are the various features? What are the accessories? What are the components of the lathe machine? And what is the purpose of each and every element in the lathe machine? Though they might have explained you, I will be explaining you the same thing with the figure and what is the purpose of each and every element in this lathe machine. I will be talking it. Okay. Now people might be understand why we are required to learn all these things. Why? First is that why we are required to find out why you want to learn about this lathe machine or a milling machine or a drilling machine. Let's say I have a component something like this. Some example I am giving. This is my axisymmetric component and you are a shop manager, machine shop floor manager you are. And somebody will come and ask you what will be the cost of this component. What will be the cost if I want to manufacture here? First is that you need to find out what is the raw material, what is the time, what is the labor. Those things you have to consider and you have to make it. But in order to find how much time it is taking, you should know what are the possible varieties of motions that is possible in a lathe machine or a milling or a drilling. How the material is being removed, how the material is removed, what is the physics. One is that once you know the physics of material removal, rest everything follow automatically. Means what will be the time, what will be the force, what will be the tool material, what will be the tool cost, what will be the insert, what will be the tool dimensions, everything will be known. So first is that we were talking about feed motion, we talked about primary motion. Right? So the relation between these two, what will be the time required to machine a component of a cylinder, whatever is the dimension, we'll see in the next lecture. Okay? Let me stop sharing. And as I told you, as I used to do it in the MP1 course also, whatever is the video which I am sharing, whatever is the class which I am teaching, all the videos I will be sharing in the Google Drive. Some people might not be having the network issue, might be having some network issue, no, they can go through that video. That doesn't make any difference actually. Okay? Okay, fine. Anything else if you want to ask related to this one, you can ask. I'm here to answer. Rishabh Verma?
No, sir.
Fine. Harshil?
No, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, fine. Shreya?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. Rohit, how are you, Rohit Naik?
Fine, sir.
Okay, after a long time.
Yes, sir.
Fine. Chalo. Chandana, how are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, any query? If you want,
No,
you can ask any question.
No, sir.
Okay, if you don't have any query, then I plan to stop here. Chalo. Okay, then thank you. We'll see on Friday 9 to 10 again. So there we will be talking about lathe machine engine.